having real faith, authentic faith, real operations of God. And so we also talked about the two blind men, and the two blind men, they followed Jesus. And as they followed him, they found themselves in a place of faith. They found themselves experiencing the power of God. And so tonight, as I try to conclude this lesson, but I want to still talk about faith. Well, the text that we had, and I want you to go back and I'm going to just read the 9th verse, the 9th chapter, 27 and the 28th verse. 9th chapter and 27 and the 28th verse. The Bible said, and when he was coming to the house, the blind men came to him. And Jesus said unto them, believe ye that I am able to do this? They said unto him, yea, Lord. And when he was come into the house, the blind men came to him, and Jesus said unto them, believe ye that I am able to do this? They said unto him, yea, Lord. Yea, Lord. Yes, I believe. Yes, I believe. Let me give you a few highlights from last week, just a few highlights. And the question that arises is, how did they know that they was following Jesus? Well, the crowd that was around them was talking about him. They pretty much gave an itinerary of who he was and the power that he possesses. They also talked about how awesome he was. And so they was able to follow him because of the voice that they heard others speak. And so tonight, one of the things that I want to leave with you is that we can win others to Christ, but we can only win them when we do not hold our peace. Every one of us, because of the faith that we have in God, because of our real experience of faith, we ought to have something that we can testify about of how awesome God's been to us. Let me help you. We don't have to go back to January. We don't even have to go back 2 years ago. And let me just say this. Sometimes we get stuck on something that God did in the past. It's good to be able to reminisce back in the past, but I want you to know something. Because of your faith, God is working miracles every day. You've had some kind of experience. You've had some kind of encounter with God or with Jesus today. You don't have to always wait or talk about tomorrow. You need to start talking about today. The text shows us that in order for us to walk right with God, we got to see him correctly, even when we can't see him clearly. That's what we talked about last week. If we got to always see him correctly, even if we can't see him clearly. We got to be able to see him correctly. In other words, you got to get to the point where you see him and know who he is. How often do we walk and we brag about somebody that we don't know? How do we talk about a Jesus that we have not experienced? And in fact, when we look at verse 28, the text says that Jesus went in the house. Now, the other thing that I talked about on last week was that these two men got together and they followed Jesus. And so they followed him, but listen at this, they was blind, and they followed him. They was blind, and they followed him. Then they cried out to Jesus. Listen at this. They cried out to him. They wanted him to have mercy on them. Instead of Jesus answering them, he ignored them. Not only did he ignore them, but listen at this. Because blind folks, the worst thing that you can do for a blind person is take them from their familiar area. And look what Jesus did. He took them off of the journey into a house. And when he got in the house, he asked them, do y'all believe that I'm able to do this? And they said unto him, yea, Lord. Look, wait a minute, hold on. The blind men, they've been walking with Jesus. They can't see, so they asked him for something. He ignored them, and they still followed him. And then Jesus takes them into a house. They ask something, he ignores them, and then Jesus leads them into a house. Even when he ignored them, they still followed him. They can't see. Listen at what they're dealing with. Listen at this, what they're dealing with. They've already journeyed, following because of what they heard. Then they begin to talk to him. And when they talked to him, he ignored them. They followed him even after he ignored them, and then he took them off their pattern. Took them from familiar ground. They blind. They can't see where they're going. They can't see the route. They blind. They can't see where they're going. They can't see the route. So let me exegete this text for you just for a few minutes. Blind people, as I said early, they lack familiarity. Wherever they're surrounded, whether it's in their own house, they're familiar with their furniture. If you rearrange that furniture, it throws them off. But here it is, Jesus takes them in a house that they can't see, a house where they don't know where the furniture is, a house that they're not familiar with. And when they get inside, he asks them. When he get them in a unfamiliar place, he asks them, do y'all still believe I can do this? I know you're following off somebody else's voice, but do y'all still believe I can do this? You got to know that one of the things that is challenging when you walk by faith is Jesus sometimes complicates your problem before he answers your prayer. Here is what we got to understand. This is the reason why so often we miss God, because we get angry when things get more complicated. You done asked him, he done ignored you, now he takes you into a place where you're not familiar and still haven't answered your prayer. What I've discovered is that super spiritual people like to think that every time they pray, God's going to answer. But the truth of the matter is, sometimes when you pray, your situation get worse before it get better. And the person who allows it to get worse, guess who that is? It's Jesus. And it's because he's not in the business, as I said before. Jesus is not in the business to spoil you. That's what happened. So often we get comfortable in the realm and the space and the style that we do, as if Jesus is in a box. You cannot box Jesus up. And the reason why we need real faith is because he don't want you in a box. He's more focused on having a relationship with you, and he wants to develop you that you will have a revelation of him and who he is. What I've discovered is that if you don't know who he is, you become stuck. You don't understand how he operates. So I came to let you know, in this life, you need faith. And there's no better way to challenge your faith than in a place where you are not familiar. Jesus took them in the house where they don't know where they are. They can't see where they are. It's an unfamiliar setting. It's an unfamiliar arrangement of the furniture. And it's in this context and in this place where Jesus finally says, do you still believe I can do it? Okay, let me see, can I push you? Let me see, can I push you a little further? When sickness hit your family, where the doctor had literally gave up, is that time that Jesus asked the question, do you still believe that I can do it? When everything looked like it's going backwards instead of forward, is when Jesus began to ask the question, do you believe I can still do it? When all of your answers is no longer in front of your face, you're at awe or at alt, trying to figure out what's my next move. That's when Jesus asked the question, do you believe I can still do this? When you spent all of your money and the bills are still due, and you got only your tithe money, do you still believe I can do this? When you're tired and you really feel like resting and you know you have an obligation, that's when he asked the question, do you still believe I can do this? Let me see, can I relate this to the peoples in the church? In the church today, we can figure out who's blind because they're the one who complain about change. He said that real slow. We can really figure out who's blind in the church today because they're the one complaining about change. When you have real faith, you're never afraid of change. Because it doesn't matter which direction Jesus goes in, he's still in control. Blind people want everything to stay the same. Blind people don't like change. Blind people complain when change happens. Next time you run into somebody that's complaining, what you gonna say? But I've discovered, and they have their reason, but blind people don't want anything to move. Because when things things move, it throws them out of their rhythm. Okay, all right, let me bring it home. Let me bring it on to the house. When change comes, you might not hold your same position. When change comes, you might be asked to do something that you hadn't did in a while. Like sit still and be quiet. Blind people, they want everything to stay the same. They don't want anything to change. Because when things change, it throws them off. The truth of the matter is, change has to happen in order for you to reach the next level that God has for your life. A lot of us keep talking about we want to go to the next level, but we don't want change. I want to see the church move. I want to see what God got in store for me next. I want to experience something different. All of your requests requires change. The story in the text is an example of what real faith looked like. So Jesus asked these men, do you believe I can do what you ask even when I have complicated your reality? Do you still believe I can do what you ask even when I've complicated your reality? See, that determines whether or not you have real faith. That determines whether you have a real relationship with God or you just showing up. If you're easily offended, do you have a relationship or you just come to regular service? Because when you have a relationship, you expect changes to come. Okay, let's look at the marriage, the husband and the wife. If they got married 10, 15 years ago, I can assure you they're not the same. They don't even look the same. I wish I had some pictures of me and my wife when we first got married. I was so fine, she couldn't resist me. Small, couldn't gain weight if I wanted to. 30 years later, I believe I gained the weight that she supposed to gain when she got those kids. She carried the kid, I carried the weight. Change. And here's the deal. If you cannot accept change, then you won't be able to accept the newness that's happening. You won't be able to accept what God got because we don't never know how he's going to bring it. And if we don't know how he's going to bring it, then we got to be open and ready for whatever he brings. Here's where the text turns. Jesus asked them, do you believe I can do it? And they said, yes, Lord. This was Jesus' plan all along. He was looking for a relationship. He was looking for a yes, Lord, before he released his resource. That's all he's looking for from us. Before he can release resource, he needs a yes, Lord. The question is, did Jesus' plan work? Yes, it did. Let me show you how. Number one, the two blind men asked for mercy, and he ignored them. Number two, Jesus made them follow him without seeing him. And then number three, Jesus put them in an unfamiliar environment and then challenged their faith. So Jesus' plan to establish relationship with them worked, because when they first called on Jesus, he was the Son of David. But by the time they got inside the house, he was Lord. Y'all get it? Let me say it again. When they first called on Jesus, he was the Son of David. They cried, "Thou Son of David, have mercy on us." Read the text. But by the time they got inside the house, they no longer saw him as the Son of David, because their response to the question was, "Yea, Lord." So Jesus moved from being the Son of David to being their Lord. And when you look deeper into the text, Jesus transitioned them through three titles of his own identity. And those three titles was, he went from the Son of David to I am, and from the I am to am Lord. From Son of David to I am and to Lord. They called him Son of David, which is his political title. See, David was a king, and the kings in those days were a political office. Then Jesus asked them, "Do you believe that I am? Do you believe that I am able to do this?" I am is the ancient title of God, and how he introduced himself when he had the interview with Moses, when he said, "Tell them, I am that I am sent you." Then they said, "Yes, Lord," which means they had transitioned from the political office, from his political office, Son of David, to his divine office, I am, and now to a personal reference, "Yes, Lord." They were saying, "You're not just a God out there, but you are my Lord." That's what we got to get. He can't just be any God. He took them through the road, but their decision was, "He's my Lord." And the only point that I'm trying to make in this text is, God is waiting to get a "yes, Lord" out of all of us. He wants to hear you say, "Yes, Lord." Even when you don't see how he's going to bring you out. Even when you don't see how he's going to heal you. Even when you don't see how he's going to do it, you still need to make up your mind that I'm going to say, "Yes, Lord." Even when you can't see your way through, God is still waiting on "Yes, Lord" from you. How many of y'all always, you done heard this term and you hear folks say, "I'm just waiting on the Lord"? Actuality, God, he's waiting on you. He's waiting on you to say yes. Listen to what Jesus did. He took them on this long journey. And he took them on that long journey so he can develop in their relationship with him before he become a resource to them. That's one of the things that he tried so hard to do. A lot of time we want the resource, but we don't want the relationship. But you got to understand, in order to get his resource, there's got to be a relationship. Let me bag it up. How many times that, guys, y'all gonna talk to me for just a few minutes? How many times you ran into a woman that she want what you got before she get what she need? Quiet. Let me flip it. Ladies. Ladies, are you in the house? How many times you ran into this guy that want what you got, but don't want to build a relationship? Well, that's the way we do the Lord. We want his resource, but we don't want his relationship. Because in the relationship, it calls for commitment. See, y'all can get some stuff from guys, and guys can get some stuff from y'all and not have a relationship. That's why I try to teach these young ladies. Young ladies, you got to learn how to be the peach out of reach. Peach out of reach. Okay, let me see, can I help you? You got to get to the point, I'm trying to keep it holy, where you got to be the plum that don't give up none. I'm trying to help you. Because if they bruise your peach, don't nobody else want it either. Let me ask you a question. Would you rather have a peach off the tree or a peach off the ground? Okay. All right. Because the ones on the ground been trumping on. They took a fall off the tree and that damaged them. That's what's happening. I don't know how I got here, but I'm here. That's what happened a lot of times before you get a relationship, and even when you try to enter a relationship, you've been bruised so much. Until it's hard to build a relationship. That's why Jesus had to take them on the journey. They was already suffering a defect. So he had to take them on a journey to develop their relationship. Sometimes, baby, you got to wait it out. You got to see what they're about. Because there's some good-looking peaches on the ground until you mash it and find out that it's weak. Find out that there's some bad spots. Preach, Pastor, I'm trying, but they don't want to help me tonight. So it's important that you build a relationship, and this is what Jesus was doing. Even though he was taking them on a journey, he was healing them all while he was building a relationship. So that's why sometimes while you're building this relationship, you got to learn how to listen. And then guys and ladies, men, I know you men grew up and they told you to be tough, and they told you, men don't cry. They told you all of this. But ladies, you got to understand, that's why Jesus came in and he built this relationship with the husband and the wife like this, because both of you need each other, especially if you fell off the tree. And the only thing I'm saying is you cannot operate in real faith if you don't have a relationship. Because real faith understand that resource costs. So God knows how to organize your life, not so that you can get a miracle. He knows how to organize your life so that you can get a relationship out of you. He can get a relationship out of you. He knows how to organize your life so that you can learn how to walk with him and not wait on him to do what you want him to do when you want him to do it. He's not trying to spoil you. That's what a lot of ladies want. And you hear guys say, well, you just need to learn how to spoil them. No. You need to learn how to build a relationship. That's what's wrong with marriage today. They're twisted. Oh, Lord, I wish I had the time. Because a lot of times we misinterpret the scripture. Don't be unequally yoked. You unequally yoked when you hadn't built a relationship. When you want to come in with your spoiled self and you're riding peach. And you haven't developed a relationship. Because when you develop a relationship, God knows how to organize your life so that you can get a yes, Lord. If you ain't got a yes, Lord, in your relationship, yes, Lord. You can't say yes, Lord, to him. And he can't say yes, Lord, to you. Y'all need to build a relationship because y'all got too much resource without relationship. Get out of this. I'm working on out of this. I'm working on out of this. Here's what I'm trying to get you to see. When Jesus get that yes, look what happened. The Bible say in the next verse that he touched their eyes. He can never touch you without a relationship. Because the relationship stabilizes you. The relationship brings firmness. The relationship change who you once was. And that's good news. Because by this time, their faith was working that made room for Jesus to touch what was not working. He had to develop them with a relationship so that when he touched them, their faith would work. And that's what he's trying to do to us. He's trying to get us to get real faith so that when he do touch you, you can get result rather than resource. Their eyes was open. But look at this. They had one last instruction. One last instruction. You know what I've discovered? Sometimes Jesus can do some stuff for us, and we don't know how to follow instruction. He gave them one last instruction. And that instruction is don't tell nobody. Wait a minute. How do two men who was blind hide the fact that they can see now? He said, see to it that no man knoweth. That's in verse 31. Verse 31 says that they told everybody they could about the miracle of the Lord and the goodness of having sight. Here it is. But they, when they were departed, spread it abroad, his fame in all of the country. When they told everyone what had happened, it was an announcement to the community that the Messiah is here. It was an announcement that the long-awaited deliverer has come. They told everybody, and here's the good news. Even though they was disobedient in telling what they were not supposed to tell, but we have no record of them becoming blind again. Because God had blessed them with a miracle, with some stuff that could be nothing but a miracle. And that's why we ought to be able to shout. I'm finished. I'm finished. We tell what we don't need to tell. I'll be back next week, but I'm finished for the night. But you got to understand, we're trying to walk in real faith. Real faith calls for development. Let me tell you this right here. You can't be in and out of the house of God and get developed. Okay, let me see, can I help you? When a woman, I don't know how I got on relationship and all of this, but when a woman is pregnated, they cannot go in, take the baby out of the womb, then slide the baby back in the womb, then take the baby back out of the womb, and then slide the baby back in the womb, and expect the baby to be developed. Likewise, how do you expect to build a relationship with God and get developed in your faith when you in today, then you come back out? The reason why the baby is in the womb is because they don't need to be exposed at the stage that they're in. And a lot of us, we leave the house, and the reason why we're exposed to so much stuff is because you're out too long. You hadn't been developed. The worst thing that you can do is get in the house of God and get all emotional and excited and then run out and think you can win the world. I'll tell you what happened, and I'm finished. But what happened is the devil been watching you, and so he's sitting and say, okay, they think they got it down packed. They heard Coleman preach 2 different messages, and they got it. But they don't know I fought Coleman while he was preaching it. And you ain't got the faith that he had to fight through what he preached. So bring your bad self on out here. Come on. That's what the devil will tell you. Come on. And then he disguised himself to look like he your friend. I'm on your side. Although I know you ain't got the faith to fight me, I know I can defeat you because you ain't been there long enough. I'm going to leave you with this, and I'm finished. I'm going to leave you with this. I had so many folks that would make fun and talk about me because I sit under my pastor for 10 years as a preacher. And this day and time is not heard of because they want to start preaching yesterday and pastoring it today and don't know nothing. I think we got some talented, gifted preachers. But even Jesus had to learn from his Father. He was tested. His daddy, in order to develop him and to grow him up, turned his back on him. Not because he didn't love him, not because he didn't want him to do better, but he knew what it would take to develop real faith. So you need to do me a favor. I can't tell folks that because they'll look at me funny. Talking to those that are even online. Y'all look over at somebody and say, sit your tail. Y'all enjoying all of this, ain't you? promise y'all I'm finished. Because you can't grow up. That's the reason why, listen at this, that's the reason why Big Mama them took your children, because they know you didn't know how to raise them. And they wasn't lying, because we need some big mamas today to take some kids. When we were growing up, my mama, I don't believe she would have never let us out of her sight if she didn't have to go to work. These kids have these babies. The less they see them, the better they are. I'm finished. God bless y'all. Thank you so much for joining us on this Bible study night. It's always a joy. I pray that something was said tonight that enhance and enlighten you to become better and to be all that God wants you to be. I want just to remind you of some things that we got going on here. United Faith is super excited about what God is doing. God is shifting us. He's working some things out in our favor. Amen. And we're excited about what our future holds here at United. I want to invite you every Sunday morning at 923 Ridge Road right here in Columbus, Mississippi at 9 a.m. Every Sunday we're right here. Every Tuesday night we're here at 7 p.m. teaching and building the body of believers. I look so forward to seeing each of you. Cannot leave without also inviting you every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on our comfort call. We're having prayer. Prayer is our foundation. Our testimony is that we are where we are today because of prayer. That's every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on the comfort call and in the house. We're here as well. That comfort call number is 1-848-220-3300. And you can get in with this code, 317-8810. That's 1-848-220-3300. With this code, 317-8810. It's always a joy to have you. Super excited that you took time just to listen to us on tonight. But we want you to remember, united we stand, and with faith, all things are possible.